You've tuned in to the Loss Prevention News Network. It's Amber Bradley. We're live here at NRF Protect, joined by Jon Grander, VP of Asset and Revenue Management for Caleres. So we turn to the serious side of the news. I know most people don't expect that from me, but I'm capable, so we're going to talk about it. So,
me too.
Yeah, you are capable. I know. Which is why you're about to do the session on civil unrest.
Right.
And knowing that you have several different perspectives, not just your stores being involved, but the actual headquarters.
Yes. So our headquarters was affected by Ferguson, Missouri, back a year and a half ago. And it really is a differentiator on how you prepare and how you think about things. And our session's really here to talk about that.
Yeah, so, and tell us where your headquarters is located.
We're in a suburb of Clayton, Missouri, or a suburb of St. Louis, Missouri, in Clayton, which is about 8 miles from Ferguson. But the courthouse where the grand jury deliberated, where there was a lot of protests, die-ins, those kind of things, are literally blocks from our headquarters.
And would you have ever imagined that you would be dealing with this type of thing in a suburb of St. Louis?
Never. And what I tell my peers in the industry is we're one shooting away from an event happening in your neighborhood. Literally, really.
Yeah, especially with all of the events these days with the active shooter that, we just heard Debbie Maples talking about, and, Orlando nightclub,
Yep.
Then you're dealing with, any type of situation, the Walmart incident in Amarillo 2 days ago. I mean,
Yep.
things are, it's a different world out there. And I think it's really awesome that NRF and the D&D Daily and other annual conferences this year are tackling these issues.
Absolutely.
Because you actually spoke on this topic yesterday.
Yes. And it's, I think there's a lot of note-taking, a lot of conversation, and it's more than the physical security that you would deal with in store. It's about people, it's about the community, it's about people's, there's strong emotions that on both sides that you have to kind of manage through and then keep your leadership informed.
So if you could, we totally didn't talk about any of this, but if you could pick a couple lessons, that you said, wow, this ending up on our doorstep, the suburb of St. Louis, what are some lessons that you feel like, hey, if we did this really well, or, maybe if it happens again, we would learn and do this differently?
Yeah, I think there's two things. One, the networking with our peers and people that have been through some type of this is really, really critical. And even outside of the loss prevention world, there's businesses and different community leaders in your city where your office resides, having lunch with your chief of police, having a collaborative group that can have discussion that are not necessarily retailers is invaluable when it comes to something like this occurring, because you have the relationships, you have they know who you are, they're more likely to share information, and that is really key. The second thing I would say is I'm a visual guy, so I love maps. So, we have maps of our stores, but putting maps of home addresses of our associates. So you know that if there's a curfew in a certain area, they're working a second shift. If there's public transportation, where they're turned it off. If there's school closings where some of our associates can't, they don't have daycare options because the school's closed, so they can't come to work. So knowing that really enables you to be better in how you go forward and again, working with your HR partners and your public relations partners and things like that. So
in the time of crisis is not the time to be
absolutely.
Mapping these things out and planning.
There are things you can prepare right now today, and that's really what we drove home.
Well, that's really interesting because you think about, like you said, you never would have expected, a suburb of St. Louis. It's kind of like anywhere, anytime these days, which is really, really scary.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, unfortunate
really
for sure. So we're looking forward to your session with Gus to kind of talk through some of these things. But so you're kind of a rookie at Caleres, right? I mean, you're just a couple days on the job?
Just 19 years.
19 years.
And, yeah.
And a name change. What's interesting, we were talking about, so I was like, so tell me about Caleres. And you're like, well, we're the largest
retailer nobody knows about. So we're 138 years old. We started as Brown Shoe. We're one of the few companies that have been on the New York Stock Exchange for over 100 years.
Wow.
And of course, we had our celebration of our 100th year anniversary last year during the civil unrest. So
Oh, wow.
the
Just
big
to
out
add
tent,
something
yeah,
else.
little anxiety that had to go off without a hitch.
Right.
But we're known as Famous Footwear. That's our primary. We have 1,150 stores. We have Naturalizer Retail, and then we have a whole brand of wholesales. Sam Edelman.
Fergalicious.
Fergalicious.
We talked about that.
We talked about how we're going to say that, right?
Yes.
So, Fergalicious, Carlos Santana. So,
Oh, very cool.
so there's a whole bunch of different wholesale groups.
Yeah, because
that
you
we have.
recently went through a name change.
Yep.
Yep.
So we changed from Brown Shoe, which nobody knew about, to Caleres, which now people can't pronounce either. So it's awesome.
I had to practice a little bit.
That's right.
but-
That's right. That's right.
So, living in St. Louis, how many times have you been up in the Arch? Don't say never.
I'm scared of heights and I'm claustrophobic,
really?
so
Oh, no
that's
way.
not going to work. Yeah, that's.
So never?
Never.
Even
no.
with the kids?
No, I'll send the
No?
kids, but
Send the kids up?
yeah, I that's not for me. So.
All right.
That's
Well,
not for me.
John, we really appreciate you stopping by and all of your tricks of the trade with this very serious and unfortunate topic. But
Yep.
it sounds like you're definitely on top of it and giving our audience some valuable information.
Great.
So we appreciate it.
Thanks for having
Thanks
us.
for stopping by.
All right.
Thanks for watching Loss Prevention News Network.